food rationing, armed guards, biometric chips. It's all coming. Good afternoon, everybody. JT here, Serenity Farms Prepping. Cackling Camo and Pedo Joe have decided food price controls need to be dictated by the Democrat regime due to gouging by retailers and inflation, which is very ironic because for years the Democrats have denied the existence or that they created inflation with Bidenomics. But now they have a talking point, so it's okay to pretend that there's no inflation and then there is inflation. Okay, so they are installing price controls for a very nefarious reason. One which I have warned about for at least 3 years. All part of the social credit score biometric marker of some kind in some place and total control. So, on the price gouging angle, yeah, a lot of industries in this country have been known to price gouge, especially in times of the most need. The food industry is probably at the very bottom of that price gouging list. The farm to table system eliminates a retailer, a store, a market from choosing to charge high prices because the competitors, of which there are many, probably the most out of all the industries. There's a store on every corner with food. You all gotta charge the same or you don't sell any and you go out of business. So, gouging in the food retail sector, if it's being done, it's probably by Whole Foods, who charge ridiculously high prices because they've convinced idiots that their food is non-GMO and organic, which almost all of it is not. So that's price gouging. It's lying, it's cheating, it's stealing, whatever, but nonetheless. So it's not about price gouging and it's not about inflation, although they intentionally have caused inflation to get us to this point. I have also been warning for years that there is no food for the coming years with all the others. Water, medicine, supplies, tools, ammo. Yeah. But there is no food unless you want Franken food. So now that the food shortages are creeping into the daily construct, those high prices aren't just from inflation. It's inflation caused by shortages. With shortages, soon the supplies will run very, very, very low. Eventually, many foods will not be on shelves. You'll see different items put in their places. You'll see all the food that is on a shelf move to the front. You'll see crap shit that costs pennies to make put on shelves with food that's not food, yada yada. But eventually, the masses are going to get mad. The welfare moochers, the illegal invaders, we already know how they're going to react when there's no food. Don't remember that they don't pay for their shit. So, by instituting price controls now, that is going to have the exact opposite but intentional effect that the Democrats are spewing. As soon as you tell all the stores what they can charge to keep prices low, farmers are going to end up with oversupply, because everyone from farm to table still has employees, still has bills, and they still have inflation. And they're not being told their prices have to stay the same. So as their prices rise, they're going to charge more, while the grocery stores are told they have to charge less. Do you see how that does not work? So eventually the food is going to run out enough to the point where the regime will have to ration. And if the food supply is running out, then all the businesses that contribute to the food supply, your farmer, your haulers, your manufacturers, your producers, your packagers, then your long haul truckers, your stock boys, they all start getting laid off. And there's less people to perform all those duties, while inflation is continuing to rise and the food supply is continuing to dwindle. Enter China Mart as all your mom and pops go out of business because they cannot compete. They can't carry the bulk. They can't carry the volume. Remember, your China Mart, your Walmart, your Costco's, they have a 3-day supply. Your mom and pop store, they ain't got that. They're lucky if they have a 1-day supply. They don't carry a supply because that's usually not their main purpose, a gas station and beer and cigarettes. So they're all going to go out of business by design. Everyone's going to get funneled to China Mart, Costco, Walmart, whichever one your city has. Remember in the 70s, the oil embargo and even odd days gas rationing? Now picture however they want to do it for food. Well, they're going to do it with your social credit score. When they start to ration, you're going to have to prove who you are. And when you prove who you are, name, rank, date, and serial number, they're going to know everything about you, because they will have issued you, very likely to begin with, a biometric card with all your stats, including, but not limited to, your social credit score and your carbon footprint, your religion, your political affiliation. All right, so a guy like me, a white, Christian, ultra-conservative, toxic, masculine, nationalist, extremist I'm getting crumbs. If I'm even allowed to get food. Everyone is not going to get the same rations. How's that going to go over? But we'll deal with that in a minute. Point being, everyone's going to get their card. The cards will work for a while. People start losing them. And then the regime will say, we have a better way. Because IDs are racist. How about you get this little thingy in your hand or your head, and then we can just scan you. You don't have to worry about losing your card or someone stealing it. Okay, and your universal basic income will be on there. Because it's all going to happen at the same time. So you're going to go on your day. It's only going to be once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe only once a month. So you're going to show up at your China Mart. Don't know how you're going to get there because you're not going to be allowed to drive because your carbon footprint. So you're going to get there somehow, some way, and you're going to notice a long line of people standing outside like during the great scam pandemic, weaving through lines like they were going to a concert. And you're going to see armed, uniformed, soldier-type dudes standing at the gates to these government-controlled ration centers. All right, we've arrived at camp. Let's continue. So, you're now standing in line. You may notice people in line with you looking dirty, disheveled, thinner, unshaven. Everyone carrying a little old lady bag or two. You see the person at the front of the line get to the armed personnel. They whip out their card, it's scanned. They're told to stand there. In a few minutes, someone appears from within the store with a crate. Not a large crate. They set it on the table and tell the person, take your stuff. The person begins putting in the stuff out of the crate into the bag. Probably going to make a comment that everything I asked for isn't on here. And they're going to be told, you're getting what you're entitled to. That is it. Because everything will be rationed. As soon as you take the last item out of the crate, the soldier is going to tell you, move along. You're going to step outside the cattle pen and be on your own. Because no one will have guns. How you get back home is up to you. If you get back home, will be up to you. Do you see where this is all going? They're not hiding it. They never have. They've played little word games. They've frogged in the pot of boiling water, most of you. All right, now, the Trump campaign also knows that there is a massive food shortage. He cannot fix it. Nor does he probably have any desire to do so. Why would he? He knows it's coming. Now, the cultists could say, well, one, I don't think many of them actually believe that there is a shortage, because every time they go to the store, what they want is still there. It just costs more. Not thinking, why does it cost more? Well, inflation, I know, but why is there inflation? Well, Bidenomics. Okay, but what actually is Bidenomics? They don't want to dig deep. They want to just say it's the Democrats' fault that all the prices are high. And it is. But why? Because admitting that it's the Democrats' fault, which we all know already anyway, but then digging deeper and remembering that all the food processing plants, all the millions of chickens and pigs and cattle exterminated under the guise of the flu, all the mysterious plane crashes into those processing plants, the pandemic scam where everyone got sent home and no one could work, the train derailments totaling more in 1 year than in the last 20 years combined. All of that is what is leading to the food rationing. Not really the inflation. They're just using the inflation caused by everything else they've done to usher in the food rationing under the guise of price gouging. Do you see how this all works? So, right now, those who are half awake are thinking, all right, I'm going to grow some gardens. That's nice. Is it going to be hidden, guarded? Be like guerrilla gardening, because if you think for a moment the regime is going to allow everyone to grow their own food, come on. Once the illegals and the welfare moochers start rioting, looting, burning, assaulting at the food ration centers, they may close them down and let the masses starve for a couple weeks to learn that dissension and peaceful protest will not be tolerated. Now remember, everyone likely gonna be disarmed too. So everyone that has a garden, eventually the regime, they'll go through the cities first, find all those people with gardens, even if it's a patio window ledge with a tomato plant and a couple of heads of lettuce. We'll be taking that. Out in the country, they'll do flyovers. I mean, you're really gonna, my greenhouses give off a heat signature, but they're clearly visible. But you always have alternative, backup, different methods, locations. You gotta do what you gotta do. But they're gonna try and make sure that nobody is growing their own stuff, because that will lead to black markets. Okay, and stuff will cost more there because it's gonna be all the stuff that you can't get at the government ration centers, which is all going to be crap. It's all going to be laced with the poison bioweapon jabs for obvious reasons. Now think about the next 2 or 3 years when supposedly tens of millions are going to die from this little bad boy. then starvation, then riots, maybe a war. So the food rationing thing will achieve a couple objectives at the same time. Oh, and when you get into that ration line, your biometric card will tell if you are up to date on all your inoculations. So there's going to be folks like me and many of you that were like, I'm a pure blood. I fit all the check marks that my social credit score is going to be 0 and I'm not going to get any food. I don't even want to be in line because you'll probably get arrested when you show your card and it registers who you are. So, mosquito. So, right now you're probably saying, well, I'm not even going to go to those ration lines then because I don't want to get arrested, detained, and brought to an re-education camp. Well, they're going to keep track of everyone who shows up and everyone who doesn't, because eventually they're going to come for those who are not showing up to get their ration, because they know why we're not. So it's coming down. Supposedly not until they take the presidency. So we still got all that to worry about. But food rationing is likely coming anyway. It's just a matter of what regime is going to be doing it. Good luck out there. But for now, JT.